I am going to put in your grades from your presentations. My plan is to do that during 7th period today. At the latest, it will happen at the end of the day, like during when I get home tonight. But either way, I must have your team value rubrics completed. So these are the ones that started, that we worked on yesterday for about 5 minutes, right? They're up on Canvas. It's at the very bottom of the section labeled alternative energy project or whatever it is like that, okay? You need to fill out one form for you and one form for every other person in your group. Does that make sense? So if you had 3 people in your group, you will fill that form out 3 times. If it was just you and your partner, you would fill it out 2 times, okay? If you had an alternative situation, then come talk to me if you're confused. But in general, that is the rule. And the other piece of that, and the reason that I'm telling you this again, giving you a nice friendly reminder, is that everyone in your group will receive a 0 until I have those team value rubric feedback forms, because I use that as part of my assessment. Does that make sense? Okay. So if you fill it out, but your partner didn't, then you will still get a 0 until your partner fills it out. Does that make sense? So if you want your score not to be a 0, then make sure that you and your partners have done that. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Say yes or no. Come on. Yes? Okay. If you're confused about what I'm talking about, if this isn't making sense, please talk to me so that you understand it and you make sure that we have good grades moving forward. Okay? All right. What I would like you to do then, because we're going to get started on some actual science, I need you to pull your capture questions out. Capture question 7.2 is headed your way. And you can also pull out that blue sheet that we started with yesterday. Okay? We do not need technology out. You do not need your computers out right now. And would you take your bags and put them on the floor just so that it's kind of, there's more space for you to wiggle around as well? I'm going to go ahead and put the capture question up for the day. This is kind of an opinion question as opposed to a certain answer question. That means that everybody, regardless of whether or not you were here yesterday or not, can feel confident to put down an answer to the question. The question is, if you were moving to a new location, and I don't mean down the street, but like you were moving to a fundamentally new place, you may even call that migrating. Where would you look to build a house? Like, what things are you looking for being near? And why would you choose that spot?
Do you have an extra question?
I do not have any. I've been giving them out. Oh, I have this one here. You can have this one. You put that one there? Oh, Hannah's always got pencils. Oh, you need one? You always have pencils. Not today. Maybe one of your peers has one that they can lend you for the period. I feel like the stores need to start having like an extra pencil sale. So let's discuss. I hear lots of glamorous places being thrown out here. I'm going to pick on some of you. You don't have to. I'm just looking at tables. So I'm going to start with my back table here. Somebody talk. You pick. Where are you going to go and why?
I said a suburb of a city, specifically Savannah, Georgia, because that's where I want to go to college. And a suburb is safer than a city, but you can still get to the places you need.
Okay. So you're looking for safety. Yep, I know. I got you. All right. Michaela, somebody at your table, what did you guys talk about? Or what did you say?
Somewhere with stores.
With what'd you say?
Stores.
Stores. And what do we get at stores, friends? Everything. We are a consumer culture, aren't we? Yeah. So tell me, what is it? And I want you to think about this from a need perspective, not a want perspective. What do you need that you would get at a store?
Clothes.
Clothes? Okay. Food? Anything else that pops into your head? Yeah. Yeah, like hygiene, right? Personal hygiene. Right? And again, I like that one because really we're talking about things that we need. I mean, yes, you want to be near stores so you can get all those fancy pants, whatever things. But when it comes right down to it, the things that we need are, yeah, those clothes, food, personal hygiene supplies, that kind of stuff. All right. This table right here, where'd you guys pick? It doesn't have to be one that you all agreed on, but what was one place that you told us or that you shared? Go, Gracie. Yeah.
I said, like the place, like why?
Both.
Oh, okay. I said, Arizona.
Arizona.
Like, it was warm. Like I can't be so much cold every day.
Okay. So you're looking for, I can't write today. I'm struggling with that. Warmth or like, so a good climate maybe? Okay. So she's moving south. All right. Jack, what did you say?
Somewhere where you can access food and water. So
Okay, so you got the warmth, the food, and what was the last one you said, or the first one? Yeah, I got that. I got warmth and I got food. What was the last, or the other thing? Water. Yeah. Do we need water, friends? Yeah. Like fundamentally, as living beings, the number one requirement, the number one thing you need is what? Water. Without it, you're done. You're done. What'd you guys say? Where did you want to go? Georgia. All right. Got a little Georgia caravan headed down. Why Georgia?
It has like, how do you phrase this? Country like vibe.
Okay. So like it's like no, and I think that's totally fair, right? Part of the things when you're moving to a new location, when it says, what are you looking for? You're looking for, what would that be called? What are you looking for? You guys can help her out. Yeah. Like you're looking for a certain kind of like community, maybe? Is that fair? Or a certain kind of, maybe that's not the word that you want. Culture? Is that what somebody say that? Culture? Is that kind of what you're talking about? Yeah. Looking for. Are you going to Savannah as well or somewhere else in Georgia?
Don't know yet.
Okay. Cool. All right. Got two more. Go.
Okay, so I want to go somewhere where you can access a lot of places because if you live on top of a mountain, there's only like one road down. That's not very useful.
So you said friends. I can't hear, and if I can't hear, you probably can't hear either. So please show respect. You can access
like places.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something else, and I was very confused. So I'm much more understanding of what you're saying there. So like you want accessibility to different places so you can get places.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because that may, for some people, be a very important thing. Whereas, and I'm not trying to pick on you, but like when Liz was saying like a different kind of culture, right? Where maybe for her, she doesn't want to go play. She wants to be there. Is that a fair statement? Maybe I'm placing.
Oh, country music. You can add that.
Oh, and she likes the music. Okay. The culture, the community, the arts. Should I add there? Is that okay? We'll expand that a little bit. But that's absolutely, I mean, that's something that matters. Absolutely. All right, last table. What did you guys say? California. Why did you say California? Warm. So it's all about temperature? Cool. Any of my friends that didn't get a chance to talk, because I only got about a quarter of you out there right now. Locations that you'd like to share or reasons that you're choosing them. Yeah, Ava, what you got?
Family.
So you're looking for a place near your family or maybe far away from your family? I don't know. Yeah. So we can say like, do you guys know the word proximity? Proximity means like how far away from you are from something. Proximity to family. and friends. That's awesome. All right. Earth scientists, I would like for your attention to be in one big group here. So if you got something to add, I see some hands up. Put your hand up too, and then we can all share out. Yeah.
I said Philadelphia.
Philly, why?
Because we go there like once or twice a year. So
Uh-huh.
I'm already kind of used to it and I like it there.
Cool. So maybe like familiarity, right? So can I tell you just a really quick little story about, because I was just thinking about that. And I was thinking about like big moves, right? So if we think about moving across the country, absolutely that makes sense. And looking for something familiar. So my husband's family is from Luxembourg. Do you guys know where Luxembourg is?
Yes.
It is a little itty bitty tiny country in Europe. It's super tiny. And about 3 generations ago, lots and lots of people came over from Luxembourg and they settled in northeast Iowa. And the reason that I think this is interesting, and based on what you were saying, Sydney, is that my sister-in-law and her family just went to visit Luxembourg. Just, kind of like we need a place to go. We're going to go and visit. She took tons of pictures. Almost all of the pictures of Luxembourg, they're beautiful. They looked exactly like northeast Iowa. So even though they had never been to the United States before, or never been to Iowa before, it looked very familiar, kind of like what you're saying, right? Does that make sense? So sometimes it's not like, oh, I've been there before, so now I'm picking a place to move. Sometimes it's oh, I've been someplace that looks like this, so that's why I'm going to choose to move there. I love that you shared that, but I just wanted to throw that in there because it's kind of cool. It's kind of a nice parallel. Go.
Like job opportunities or schooling opportunities.
Absolutely. Opportunities are the worst? Wait, what?
Oh, like saying like you've been at this place for like 3 years, and I don't know what to do that. Just get the job opportunity. That's like.
Yeah. You guys, this is an amazing list. When we were first coming up with this question, I was like, I wonder where we're going to go with this. This is not what I expected. This is fantastic. I love this. If you have not written down all these things, pick your top 6 and make sure you write them down. I want you to write this down because I want you to be able to think about that, okay? So write those down. Hi, do you need something?
Nope, I'm saying hi to the class.
Okay,
Bye.
good to see you. Have a great day. All right. So write these down if you haven't done so yet. Then we're going to cruise on. We are going to keep going with our blue sheet that we started with yesterday. What's that?
He was wondering when he said goodnight.
I didn't hear you, Bob.
He was wondering why he said goodnight.
Okay. I don't know. I can't read his brain, so I don't know what was going on through his head. When you're thinking about this, the way it's worded and the way we think about it is, what are we looking for? But now we're going to go way back in time and think about what some people who were moving a few years ago, and by a few years ago, I mean a really long time ago, thousands of years ago, what were they looking for? So on your sheet, right now, so far, we have defined the Ice Age. We determined when the last Ice Age on Earth was. What did we say for that? Say it loud, somebody. 15,000 years ago, about. What's that? I think we estimated and then we moved it over a little bit. Yeah. And we'll look at that in just a second. And then we got to this question, right? During the last Ice Age, what did the shoreline look like? And what do you remember? What happened to the shoreline during the Ice Age? What was that? The sea levels go down. We have been talking all this time about sea levels rising. Why are we not talking about sea levels going down? What's the difference?
Well, all the glaciers are melting, so then they have somewhere to go, which would be the ocean. And the levels rise.
Say that again. I'm a little confused what we said. I think I understand what you're saying.
Where would you ask the question again?
Well, I just wanted to know why the sea levels were going down. Because all the time, like all of our conversations that we've had so far in this class, we always talk about the sea levels rising, don't we? Remember, like Miami's going to be underwater, New Orleans going to be underwater. So why are we talking about sea levels going down here? That's my question. Get us started.
Like all water on like the earth stay like the same amount, and so everything is going like it's freezing and stuff.
Okay, so the amount of water on the earth is the same, right? Kind of like we talked a while ago about how carbon, the same amount of carbon on the earth all the time. If you have a huge ice sheet that is covering a whole lot of North America, that ice is made of water, and that water has to come from somewhere. And it came from the ocean, didn't it? And so if you have a ton of water that is no longer in the ocean because it's now in this frozen sheet of ice, that means the ocean has gone down. Does that make sense? So the ocean, the sea levels rise and fall depending on what's going on in the world. In this point, so again, we're talking about 15,000, 12,000 years ago, something like that, okay? We had ice covering most of North America, and as a result, we had sea levels going down. Okay, so we said during the last ice age, why do you think so much of the shoreline was exposed? We said that one. And then based on the evidence, this is question 2 in the middle of your page, it says, based on the evidence we have seen so far, what is the best route to North America at the end of the last ice age? Mark it on your map. So you have a map up there? So how did we get there? How did we get there? By we, I mean our, or some ancestors, maybe not our ancestors, but early humans. How did they get to America? So go ahead and mark it on your paper. Talk to your table. Have you guys heard of the Bering Land Bridge before? Yeah? So currently, like if you've ever been up to Alaska and gone to northern, I've not, gone up to kind of mid to northern Alaska. So here's a world map, okay? This box here is the zoom in of what we're looking at here. So this is Alaska. This is Canada, okay? So we would be like down here. Does that make sense? Okay? This is Russia, okay? And Russia just keeps going because it's a huge country, okay? Today, there's water that goes through here, right? The Bering Strait. But the game is, again, if there's a bunch of ice, that means that the ice has taken up some of that water. And so that means that the sea levels have gone down. And the theory is then that we could just walk across here. Does that kind of make sense? That's the Bering Land Bridge theory, okay? Well, that's the theory. We're going to keep talking. Patience, right? That's what we do. We think, I mean, that's what it makes sense, doesn't it? Seems to make some decent sense. Yeah. If we take a look at these ice sheets, this is 18,000. Have you guys ever seen this YBP? What does YBP mean?
Years before present.
Years before present. Scientists and social scientists have a hard time deciding on what way to mark things, but this would be kind of like sometimes you say in the common era, right, or whatever, like that's kind of what we're talking about, right? So, or not in this case, that's not CE, but this is like years before. How many years ago from now? 18,000 years before present, okay? So I heard a conversation, I think it was over here, saying, how did those people get there? Did they just walk through? Right, like is that what happened? They're going to walk on the ice? What do you think? Yeah? Sure. 10,000 years ago, sure, no problem, right? How would they get there? They would have gone across the Bering Strait. That's right up here. Come through. The yellow is just, land. The blue is the ice cover. And so, sure, we could just get through. Life is good. Let's go. Why not? I mean, at this point, all of this is not covered in ice, so life is fine. Okay? That's the way we understand things pretty well, and we did for a long time. Hannah, question? You may. But that's not the only understanding. So I'm going to play a quick video for you here. Okay. And then we're going to answer some questions. I'm going to make sure that my sound is on. Make sure that this is all happy and good. Nope, not quite. Yeah. All right. 5 minutes. Here it comes. Hey, Haley, you want to go turn the lights off for me? Thanks, friend.
We've been taught that most Native Americans are descendants of a band of prehistoric hunters who walked to the New World from Asia about 12,000 years ago. Hunters left their stone points and butchered animal bones at kill sites all across North America. Radiocarbon dating in the 1950s showed that the oldest site was 11,400 years old. 11,400 years ago marked the end of the last ice age, a period when much of North America had been buried beneath massive glaciers up to 2 miles thick.
2 miles of ice.
When you've got that much ice on land, what happens is that it draws essentially water out of the oceans. So with that much ice on land, sea levels worldwide are lowered. By lowering sea levels, you expose the continental shelf between Siberia and Alaska. And so you create this entryway, this land bridge. And that made it possible for people to walk to the Americas.
As the Ice Age came to an end, an ice-free corridor appeared between the receding glaciers, opening the door to the Americas for the first time, it seemed, in human history.
Does that kind of make sense?
As that corridor opens up,
Telling the same
maybe
story
about
that we've seen.
11,500, 12,000 years ago. So it all seemed to work out very, very beautifully in terms of the timing of getting these New World peoples from Asia into the Americas.
I want to pause for just a second because I want you to just look, because we didn't really point this out yesterday. So
As that corridor opens up,
really the only way, if you think about a map of the earth, the only way for people to get to Southern America, to does that make sense, to South America, is through North America. Does that make sense? Like if you're trying to find a path, because the only thing that South America is even remotely close to besides North America is what? Antarctica, which is cold and nobody lives there, right? So the only way for people to get down to South America would have been through North America, then go through Central America, which is part of North America, right down to South America. It's just, I just want to point that out because otherwise it seems a little bit funny.
maybe about 11,500, 12,000 years ago. So it all seemed to work out very, very beautifully in terms of the timing of getting these New World peoples from Asia into the Americas.
But now there's been some real changes in the thinking of this. This model is too simple.
The biggest challenge to the story comes from the Southern Hemisphere. In 1996, a group of prominent archaeologists met in southern Chile at a place called Monteverde. They saw weapons, tools, and other artifacts dated to 12,500 years old. More evidence comes from southern Brazil.
Okay. What did they just say? How old was the stuff in Chile? 12,500 years ago. Why is that a problem?
Because they crossed, like, the glaciers parted 11,000 years ago.
Right. The glaciers parted 11,000 years ago. And there is evidence that there were people in South America 12,500 years ago. So that's a lot of time earlier. Does that make sense? Okay. And even if our dating is not exactly perfect, it's good enough to know that there's a discrepancy there. There's a problem. Yeah.
In prehistoric rock shelters, archaeologists have found some of the oldest human remains in the New World. One skeleton, called Lucia, is more than 11,000 years old.
The date of 11,000 makes her potentially the oldest skeleton in the New World. Her early age, combined with data from Monteverde, which is at least 12 to 13,000 years old, certainly means that people must have been migrating into South America much earlier than we previously thought.
We don't really know who these early people were. We don't know how many people came, and we don't know when they came in. So the whole idea about one migration across the Bering Land Bridge 12,000 years ago and moving into America, accounting for all peoples, all languages, all cultures, is now thrown out. It's gone. The Ice Age glaciers that once blocked the way from Asia to North America began to recede only about 12,000 years ago. If people were coming into the New World before that, how did they get past the ice? Archaeologists are now searching for answers along the Alaskan coast. Yaro Vara is one of several Native Americans on the project.
It's really exciting every time when you so much as clink a rock. Yeah, it could be an artifact. You never know what it could be. It could be a 10,000-year-old tool. It could be a bone. It could be anything. You just don't know. And so whenever you hear anything, you have to go around it really carefully and find out what it is.
This excavation has uncovered a continuous record of caribou, fox, and bear bones dating back 50,000 years.
Also in this cave, we found seal bones that appeared to be scavenged by bears. What this suggests is that bears survived the entire last period of glaciation. And if bears could have survived here, it's certainly clear that humans could have also.
It appears that the Ice Age glaciers were not a barrier to the New World after all. Parts of the coast were ice-free, even when glaciers covered half of North America.
Quick question for you, based on what you know about weather and tide, or not tides, but shoreline. Why would the shoreline have been free of ice, even if there were glaciers covering the entire continent?
Isn't it that the warm air from like the water travels to the shoreline?
Exactly. It's the same reason. Do you remember so long ago when we were talking about climate? We talked about climates or locations that are very, very near an ocean, right, are much more moderate in temperature than ones that are more inland. Do you remember when we charted, San Francisco compared to Des Moines, right? And San Francisco was very, very moderate, even though Des Moines went up and down, okay? So the same idea is true here. Even though the entire continent was covered in a glacier, that very edge probably was not.
So a coastal migration route would have been open to the early people of Asia. Then, as the glaciers began to recede between 11 and 12,000 years ago, the interior route opened up. A natural pathway, perhaps, for nomadic hunters from Northeast Asia.
So these could be very, very different populations coming into the New World, literally thousands of years apart from one another, possibly from different sources in Northeastern Asia. We don't really know that. But certainly we are looking at the possibility of multiple migrations into the New World, possibly going on different routes.
All stories of early human history are incomplete. Advances in human genetics, archaeology, and anthropology will add new chapters, or perhaps rewrite it altogether.
All right. I would like for you to take a look at questions 3, 4, and 5 on your blue sheet. If you started filling them out while the video was going, fantastic. If you didn't, that's okay. I want you to spend a couple minutes with your table mates and answer those questions right now. 3, 4, and 5.
Are we going to talk about them?
Super briefly, but go ahead. Yeah.
Can I get water? I'm pretty positive I took my meds this morning. They didn't stay, like they didn't go all the way down, so they're like stuck.
You want some water? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, go for it. Absolutely. Yeah. So have a quick conversation, ladies and all right. Let's go ahead and take a look at those just really quickly. Just keeping an eye on the clock to make sure that we can get through this today. Maybe. Come on, thing. There it goes. All right. Questions 3, 4, and 5. Number 3 says, explain how the discovery of 12,000-year-old tools in South America caused these scientists to rethink their explanation. What'd you say? We kind of talked about this one already too, didn't we? Colin, what'd you say over there? Number 3. Yeah, it was thought that we thought that they had migrated 11,000 years ago. That's 1,000 years difference, you guys. I want you to keep that in your brain. A lot of times we just think, oh, they're just old cultures. They're just old cultures. They're all the same. What year is it this year right now? 2019. If you were migrating in 2019 and there were people that migrated 1,000 years before, what year would that be? Good job. We got the subtraction, right? 1019. You understand what I'm saying? This is a long, long time difference. 1,000 years is a lot. That's a lot of generations. That's a lot of technology. That's a lot of change. So I just want you to have that in your brain. It's not just a little while later. It's a lot later. Number 4, how does the fossil evidence indicating that bears survived the last ice age contribute to the ideas about human migration? Oh, I don't know who to pick on today. Alexandra, what'd you guys say for number 4?
I don't have anything.
Don't have anything for that one? Can somebody help her out? They talked about this for a little while in this video, friends. What did we say? Okay, I heard about 5 of the 12 words you said. Say it louder.
That means that humans could survive too.
Yeah, if bears can survive, bears are large mammals, right? They need a lot of food. They need shelter. If bears can survive, humans can probably survive. That's what they're saying. And number 5 kind of goes along with that. Do you think that it's possible if bears could survive, that humans could too? Sure. What do they need? Oh, good. What's that? You're going to say no? Why do you say no?
Because so you have to stay warm, stay alive, and it's not like they have winter coats and blankets and heated houses like we did, and the bears had like a big fur coat that kept them warm.
Right. And then the humans can hunt the bears, right? And they get their own big fur coat. Yeah.
Wait, so they could?
What's that? I was thinking like a blanket. Yeah, it would keep you a little warmer. Maybe a rug and a blanket, like a matching set. Ooh, right? Yeah. The idea is, let me make this really clear. If the bears can survive, because bears are large mammals that need lots of food, they need way more food than we do, right? They need shelter. If they could do it, we could do it. That's the idea here. That's the idea. Yes. All right. So question 6 says that you got to get something from me. So I guess I probably should get some information out there for you.
Did we answer 4?
Yes, we did. All right. So trace the new route that your teacher shows you on the map above. So here is the idea. This is what the video was trying to get at. Is that sometime more than 14,000 years ago, people were able to travel down the coast, kind of island hopping from one island to another. And again, we're talking thousands of years, friends. This is generations. It's not like one family is going to go all the way from Russia to South America, right? We're talking long, arduous journey. We're talking moving everything you have with you, right? So, and it's not like they had like lots of stuff, but they would move little bit by little bit by little bit, and they'd have to adjust for seasons. But this yellow one is the path that we believe that the earliest people came. And then later, about 12,600 years ago, when they were able to get through the glacier, they moved that way. Okay? So make sure you've marked those on your map. So you've got your map on the front of your blue sheet. You're going to mark those 2, maybe do one in a dotted, one in a solid line, maybe label them. These are good choices. So this is what we think actually happened As of right now, is this settled and done? No. Science is living, science is working. They are coming up with new theories all the time, right, to figure out how this all worked. This is just another picture of kind of the same thing of the path down the coast a really, really long time ago, and then the blue line once the glaciers had melted. Okay, so that's kind of interesting, just that whole idea of how they got here. The settlement part is what brings us back to our capture question for the day. What are you looking for? So I know what you are looking for now, but think about yourself, think about putting yourself in the position of these people that were alive 15,000 years ago. What do you think they were looking for? Were they looking for stores?
They're looking for food.
They were looking for food, and probably even more importantly, yeah, let's take a look here. So on this map, you're flipping over to the back of your blue sheet, okay? These are locations of the settlements that have been found of what they've called the Clovis people, and they are Paleo Native Americans. They are the predecessors or the ancestors to what we think of as the Native American tribes in North America. Okay, so on your sheet, the bold right above it says, look at the data your teacher provides. On your map, mark where the ancient settlements were. So you're going to write this down. Doesn't have to be circle for circle, but mark down right now where you see those circles. And then with your table mates, you can answer questions 7, 8, and 9. Okay? With your table mates, you can answer questions 7, 8, and 9. So go ahead and start marking these locations. Okay? And then see if you can figure out why those locations would have been